Hello everyone and good day to you. This is Roger with Groovis Games Unlimited and welcome to our next video in the showcase series. And this is going to be a great one, and by the end of this video you're pretty much going to know how to play Dungeon Crusade. But first of all, as always, thank you guys for your time, your interest. I love making these videos for you, hanging out and getting you acclimated to the game. So welcome, and I hope you're doing great. Thank you also for all your nice comments and messages on the prior videos. That really means a lot to me, and so thank you very much. I always look forward to making these videos for you. Okay, let's get into this because I'm sure you want to learn how to play Dungeon Crusade. To be honest with you, you're going to learn pretty much 65-70% of this game just from this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the 5 phases that comprise a turn. So by the end of this video, you're going to pretty much know how to play Dungeon Crusade. And this is very easy, very streamlined, but you're going to see why, this open world dungeon crawl board game design, it's really going to come to life here, and you're going to see everything you could do in the hero phase. Okay? So let's go over the 5 phases quickly. Okay, and there you go. Not too hard at all. Now, I want to draw your attention to our player aid reference cards here. So let's go over the first one here. And like we just discussed, on this you're going to find what to do in your upkeep phase, encounter phase, guardian phase, flip it over, hero phase, and then the monster phase. So while you're playing, and you'll probably get this quite quickly, you can refer to this on each thing you do. Very streamlined, very easy. And then right here, these are the 6 warfare types, so you could just glance at that, and then you'll get to know that quite quickly also. And these are the 8 of the hero's attributes. I'm going to have a great video on the 6 warfare types, and what was paramount to me in creating Dungeon Crusade is true party building. So that's a few videos away, but I'm really looking forward to doing this one with you guys. All right, our second one here, notice there's the hero phase. The second card is really the whole open world dungeon crawl board game thing. These are all of the actions that your hero can perform. Since it's an open world dungeon crawl board game, there's nothing linear. So there's many things that you can do with an action. We're going to go over that. But then there's also some free actions here, free actions that you don't have to spend an action on. So we'll be going over all of this. So these will be quite helpful to you while you're playing. And finally, before we get going, I want to show you this. Now this is an older version, but finally, we're going to have the revised Dungeon Crusade rulebook out, which has gotten a lot of praise from some YouTubers. People have read it, and they said it is excellent. And it's very quick and to the point. So, again, this is just a proof copy, and it was from some time ago. But what I want to show you is, this is the section that goes over the 5 phases that comprise a turn. So it's right here and the next page. Real nice and condensed, right to the point. And I worked with my amazing and brilliant friend Ilpo from Finland, and he was pretty much the editor on the Dungeon Crusade rulebook, and I can't thank him enough, and the other people that worked on it. But man, Ilpo is just a brilliant guy, and of course he will always be included on every game we work on with Groovis Games Unlimited. Ilpo, you did an amazing job. We did it. So when you take a look at the revised rulebook, which will be in PDF format this weekend, you can refer to this. Very easy, and you'll see it's very streamlined. Okay, so let's get started, and let's take a look at what you do in the upkeep phase at the top of a turn. Okay, and I'm going to be referring to the revised rulebook. For this, we're just going to go right down this column here. So the first thing you're going to do is process any afflictions. Again, very easy. In the game now, there's only 2 afflictions that you may have to process during the upkeep phase. So I took our wizard hero Zeke here, and unfortunately he has a bleeding affliction, so you have to process that. It's very easy. Lose 1 health at the start of every upkeep phase. So Zeke would have to lose 1 health. There's your health track right there. and the other one is poisoned, and lose 1 essence at the start of every upkeep phase. And your essence bar is right here. And if you watch the video series, you'll know that heroes have to use essence to cast special abilities. Real quick, how do you get rid of afflictions? During the hero phase, if you have an elixir, if your hero has an elixir potion, on the back it says cure all afflictions when consumed. So that's how you get rid of afflictions. And that's as simple as that is. Okay, we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, following in our revised rulebook here, the next thing you're going to do is test torches. And here is a torch right here. So we're using Palum the Rogue. So we'll say a few turns ago that she picked up a torch. Of course, there's an unlit side and lit side. So on the previous turn, she decided to light a torch. What you're going to do is simply take your D12 and roll it. On a result of 1 to 2, the torch goes out. 3 and above, the torch stays lit for another turn. And just so you know, a torch gives a hero +2 to base movement. And I just want to mention something I said before, but I thought it's a good time to mention this. Let's say that we did roll a 1. That torch is extinguished. It's going to go out. Remember to place potions and torches by the side of your village board. And on Celebration Day, these are refreshed. So think of it as the bazaar has new inventory, okay? And that's as simple as it is for testing torches. Okay, following along in our revised rulebook here, the next thing to do in the upkeep phase is unchannel special abilities or hero special abilities. And quite simply, unchannel means tap, exhaust. I'm sure you're familiar with those terms. So I just came up with channel, unchannel. So it's kind of unique to Dungeon Crusade. And what that means is unchannel means you're going to turn it right side up. What happens is during a turn, let's say that Enwyn Shadowleaf here used this long shot ability. Okay, after she uses it, she has to turn it upside down. That means it can no longer be used for the remainder of that turn. So let me show you something on the reverse side. How do you know if a special ability has to be channeled? Notice that little upside down red triangle. That means that after you use this ability, it has to be channeled, so you can just keep it like that. On some special abilities, there's a green triangle pointing up. That means that does not have to be channeled. Very simple, correct? And while we're looking at this, that's kind of a picture of a dungeon corridor. That means you can use this in the corridors of the dungeon. That is a chamber door with a big red X. That means it cannot be used in chamber combat. Very easy. The 1 tells you this is a level 1 ability, and as you may know, all special abilities can be leveled up to level 3. This is the life force XP that you have to pay to acquire this special ability, and this is the essence cost. Remember, here's your essence bar. So for Enwyn to use Longshot, she has to spend 2 essence. So we'll say that she, used it to kill a orc archer. Okay, we have channeled. We're in the upkeep phase, correct? We're going to turn it right side up. It's ready to use for the forthcoming turn. And before we close this out, I've had a lot of questions about this. You're going to find that a lot of the heroes have ranged abilities, and so they're in the form of special abilities. Like the ranged abilities are associated with the special abilities of the heroes. And so that's how you use ranged attacks, is with these. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And before we get to the next thing you do in the upkeep phase, I meant to say this at the beginning, but when I designed this game, and especially these 5 phases, I wanted to give the player something different to look forward to in each phase. Like in the upkeep phase and the encounter phase, the guardian phase, hero phase, monster phase, you're going to notice that things are always happening and they're quite different. So this next thing here we're going to discuss is actually one of my favorite things to do in the game. So if we look at our revised rulebook, we're going to assign initiative tokens. And this is why I love this so much. Well, let's discuss about initiative tokens. In this game, if I point you down, we're playing with the standard 6 heroes, okay? So, let's back down here, hopefully it doesn't fall. Okay, so therefore we have 6 initiative tokens here. So we'll just take one, for example. Picture it like this. 1 initiative token equals 2 actions the heroes can take. Okay? The reverse side is rally. And this goes along with, I really don't want to get into this right now. It's easy, but this goes along with true party building. That when your heroes enter into chambers of the dungeon, it is highly advised to rally heroes. And that's what we love about these kind of dungeon crawl games, is to rally a few heroes together to go in and just slay a monster. So that's what rally is. But for now, let's just talk about the initiative tokens. So what this means is, about placing initiative tokens, you're going to notice that, and Paul, I know you're watching, and anyone else who's played, what I love about when you use 6 heroes, there's going to be like these little episodes of things going on all over the dungeon, almost like next on Dungeon Crusade. You may have a hero way up, in there by the cesspool area opening up chests. You may have 2 heroes over here in the Chapel of Light about to enter into a chamber. You're going to have maybe 2 heroes or 3 heroes over here combating a guardian, so on and so forth. So it's almost like this, I don't know, there's all these different little events going on in the dungeon, and I love that. So, sorry to be long-winded, but I wanted to explain that because it's really one of my favorite parts of the game. What you're going to do is you're going to survey the dungeon. You're going to basically think, what do you want to accomplish for the forthcoming turn? Do you want to go for quest items? Do you want to do mining and crafting? Do you want to open a chest? So on and so forth. There's just a multitude of things to do. So you're just going to you're going to lay out your plan. So I'm just going to come up with something if everything was, if we had a game going right now. So let's say, okay, well, there's a quest item over here in Chamber of Kings. I want to send Zeke, our wizard hero. He's going to activate first, and we're going to say that he's near that. But then, after he activates, he's going to rally Maheliak, our barbarian. And quick note, that's a great team, is with Zeke and Maheliak. So he has initiative token 1. So we want Zeke and Maheliak to enter into that, oops, right here. We want them to go into that chamber, rally together, and try to kill the champion monster that resides in there and try to get a quest item. So we have that going on. Okay, so let's take initiative token 3. Let's say that Sir Brennus here, our knight hero, is near a treasure chest. We're going to want him to open up that treasure chest. So we're going to give him initiative token 3. And let's say that, these two, Palum and Enwyn, are about to attack a guardian. A guardian's like the boss of the game. So let's give Palum initiative token 4. She's going to rally Enwyn, initiative token 5, and they're going to combat that guardian monster. Finally, we have 1 initiative token left. We're going to say Faith is by a mining site. So she is going to do some mining and crafting. Give her 6. So you can see just from, and this is exactly what will happen in the game many, many times. We have all these little things that will be going on all over the dungeon, and that's what I love about this game. There's something always going. There's something always popping in each of the phases, and something's always going on. So that is what you do with your initiative tokens. Again, I'm sorry that was drawn out, but I love this part of the game. So I hope this sounds good to you and you're looking forward to it. Okay, let's get on with the next thing in the upkeep phase. Okay, and we are at the end of the upkeep phase, and we're going to discuss this really quick. But what I just said, that's as simple as that is an upkeep phase. That's what you're going to do. Now, we're going to jump ahead a little bit. This is in the upkeep phase. Remember we were talking about the quest table? Okay, this is going to lead up to Celebration Day, so I want to discuss this with you. The very last thing you do, or last process in the upkeep phase, is the teleport track. And what happens is, remember we talked about our quest here on quest table 1. Let's say that our heroes in the prior turn finished the last quest, which was kill the guardian. So let's say there was one guardian in the dungeon, the heroes killed it, so that completed the kill the guardian's quest. So we're in upkeep phase, right? All of those quests are completed for quest table 1. Remember our elder globe? There's purity in the dungeon for the moment. We're going to flip that over to the green side. Okay? Next, since our quests are completed, this is going to lead us into Celebration Day. Notice here on the dungeon UI board, this is the teleport track. 3, 2, 1, teleport. When you have this condition right here, you're going to take a red marker and put it on 3. And simply that means there's 3 turns left for the heroes to do whatever they want to do before they are teleported to the village, and there's the symbol for Celebration Day. So if you want to do some mining, open some chests, crack open some crates, so on and so forth, now's the time to do that. So let's say we went through a turn, we're back at the next upkeep phase. Move it down to 2. Do another turn, 1. There's only 1 turn left, they're going to do that. Then they're going to be teleported to the village for Celebration Day. And we'll have a video over that, but I've discussed that in prior videos. That's where they're going to level up, get new gear, so on and so forth. That right there, that completes the upkeep phase. The next phase is the encounter phase. So let's discuss that. Okay, and looking at our revised rulebook section, see, there's the encounter phase. And quite simply, you're going to draw and read the top card of the encounter deck. And we're going to go a little bit in depth because I want to show you a few things. But the encounter phase is almost like every game, this creates a random narrative. I guess that's the best way to describe it. But let's go over what the encounter deck is and some of the cards and what you can look forward to. Okay, let's go a little in depth with the encounter deck and this game mechanics. I think you'd like to learn a little more about this. So, like I said, in the encounter phase, all you're going to do is draw the top card. There are 87 unique encounters in this deck, but you're only going to use a certain amount. So every game, you're going to see there's this random narrative that's created. So you'll never see the same encounter deck. So let's go over the different types of encounters first. First of all, there is interlude cards. And there are 10 of these in this deck. And this is where I just wrote some flavor text. And picture this is like a breather for the heroes. These were meant to like throttle the encounter deck, so you're not having something happen, every single time. Before we go on, what you're going to do when you set up the encounter deck, you're going to take these 10 interlude cards, set them aside, randomly then shuffle the rest of the encounter cards and deal out 30 face down. Take 9 of these, shuffle those into the deck, so you'll have 39, and you're going to place the top interlude, the last interlude card on top of the deck. So at every encounter phase at the start of the game, you're going to get this. Right here is just an interlude. Okay? There's that. The next type of encounter is, these were my favorite. I might have to hide this from you guys because this is a fun one. I loved writing the challenges. And there's a lot of them. Challenges are, you're going to get to select a certain hero, and also every encounter card has unique art. I was not going to just have it text. That would be lame. So there's unique art on all of the encounter cards. But a challenge is going to be, you're going to be able to select a hero and they have to complete a challenge. So if you can kind of see, there's this chain leading down into this old broken down well, and that your hero has to try to pull that out. I'm not going to say what happens, but I love these in challenges, and I think you'll like that. So that's the second type, are challenges. Next up is events. And this is where sometimes it's going to have you randomly select a hero. And let me mention something right now. Don't think the encounter deck is all bad. That's not at all. There's actually really good things like this one here, but there is some bad stuff. So it's a mixture of good and bad. And let me talk about these symbols too real quick. Again, very simple. See, like this yellow eye? What that means is if a guardian is tracking your hero, they're ineligible to do that event. You're going to have to select another hero. The red one here is for combat. And if your hero is engaged in any type of combat at all, they cannot participate in this. So if a guardian is tracking your hero, you can't do that event. Red with the sword, they're in combat, they can't partake in this. Okay, so that's event. And lastly are the environments here. And this is a very cool one right here. A blood red moon has risen over the dungeon. It is the night of the undead. When combating monsters with the undead racial trait, right there, that will be on their monster card, these monsters receive a +3 to all warfare values while this environment is in effect. So this always stays out. If you draw another environment card, it will cancel this one out. Plus there's some special things in the encounter deck that will cancel all environments out, but you can only have one active at a time. Lastly, I do not like timers in games. The encounter deck is a very, very, very generous timer. If you ever run out, if you ever get to the 40th card, the minion population goes up by 1 and the terror track goes up by 1. So you can see, you're never going to run out unless you're really moseying around in the dungeon. So that's what's going to happen if this ever runs out. Then of course you're going to make a fresh encounter deck. So there you go. That's what you simply do in the encounter phase, is just draw the top card. But I'm glad we went over this, and I hope you're looking forward to experiencing what is in this encounter deck. Okay, on to the next phase. Okay, the next phase of the turn is the Guardian phase, and we've moved on to the next page of the revised rulebook, and here is the Guardian phase. Very, very simple, and I want to show you this as we just discussed in the other video. This is in direct correlation to the Guardian spawn track and Guardians per quest table. So we won't go back into this here, but this is, how many Guardians you want to spawn per quest table, and what we're going to be going over to look at is the Guardian spawn track. So let's first of all just describe what do you do in the Guardian phase. So I'll meet you at the Guardian spawn track. Okay, and here we are back at the Dungeon UI board, and here is our Guardian spawn track right here. So what you're going to do is, it's a very quick phase. You're going to take your trusty D20, consult your chart first. So the red marker is on 20. You're going to roll. And I'm glad I got that on camera. Okay, so a 20 was rolled. That means a Guardian, and let me show you, these are the there's 8 unique Guardians. There's Banevic. Here is Red Widow. Here is Razorfang. So there's just 3 of the 8. Consider those like bosses of the dungeon. So in this case, I can't believe I rolled a natural 20 on camera. A Guardian is going to spawn into the dungeon. So consider it like this, and we're going to go over it real quick. I showed you another video, but we'll touch on that. This is almost like a timer of how soon the Guardians are going to start showing up in the dungeon. And like we looked at on that entry with the difficulties, you can start this at whatever you like. So, and you can even go up this. If you want a really tough game, you can put this on 11. That means, Guardians are going to start showing up really quickly. And thematically, I thought it's kind of, to me, I consider it like the heroes are, getting more deeper into the dungeon, and kind of the evil words getting out that the heroes are there. So the Guardians are on their way to try to vanquish the heroes. So again, let's just say let's say that wasn't a 20, okay? Let's just say it was a 3. What you're going to do is you're going to move that down to 19 and proceed to the next phase. Again, let's say it was on 14, and you rolled a 13, no Guardian would spawn. But at the end of the Guardian phase, you're going to move that down, so on and so forth. It's really that simple. But let me show you before we go to the hero phase. Let me just show you how to spawn the Guardian. It's like we showed before, but since we're on this video, let's go over it real quick. So remember, in the Guardian phase, let's just say we're a few turns in. Okay, we've been playing, and we're going to roll. We're in the Guardian phase. Okay, a 1. No Guardian will spawn. We're going to move that down to 17 and then proceed into the hero phase. But let me show you real quickly again how we would spawn a Guardian. And I still can't believe I rolled a nat 20 on camera. So I want to show you again, these are called the monster spawn points, and you're going to use this for the minions too, which you're going to see in the monster phase when we start bringing minions into the dungeon. It's always random. You never have to think where to put guardians or minions. So right here, this is 8 right here, okay? Monster spawn point. And you're going to notice all around here there are other monster spawn points, such as right here, here's 1, right here is 2. It's almost like a clock, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back to 8. So how do we spawn a guardian in and the minions? You're going to roll a d8. Okay, so 6 came up. Take your guardian deck. This took it level 1. You're going to turn it over, and we see that Razorfang is going to spawn into the dungeon. And you'll notice that I wrote origin stories for all of the guardians on their level 1 cards. They don't have any special abilities at level 1, but they start kicking in at level 2, 3, and 4. Yes, guardians level up in the game to level 4, and they can get quite nasty at level 4. But as it is, we're going to have a 6, so we're going to take Razorfang here, and we're going to find spawn point 6. 5 is there, here is 6. So this is where Razorfang has spawned into the dungeon. So you can see it's random. You'll never know where they're going to spawn in. And guys, that's the Guardian phase. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about maybe the most important one, the hero phase.